Welcome to the Dregs. This is the first dungeon you're going to find in the Exiled Lands on Noob River. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to get through it. Thank you to Funcom for sponsoring this video. This dungeon can be found in D4 here on the map, right next to Skulker's End, on the far west side of Noob River. Series level 41, and these are her attributes. I always go for the first perk in expertise so that we can carry our gear. 2 perks in grit, which increases our stamina pool and the amount of armor that we have. And I've chosen endurance as my second perk. We've got 2 perks in vitality, so we get passive regen for the first perk, and then the second perk I've chosen faster healer, which means that cheap aloe potions, weak aloe potions that you drink will heal you much quicker. The first perk in agility so that we recover quickly from dodges, and then I've got 2 perks in strength. The first one, heavy blows. The second one, combo finishes deal 20% more damage. Series wearing a full set of Cimmerian steel armor. If you loot this armor, it will not be full durability. You can get repair kits from around the map, including in the unnamed city and some chests around this location. And then if you do, you can apply armor reduction kits, which you can craft in the Tinkerer's Bench once you get to level 26. These just cost twine and plant fiber, and I put these on all my armor throughout the game for my character. So how did I get this looted armor? This armor is dropped by the tier 3 Cimmerian fighter that patrols the waters around Mounds of the Dead. Up until recently, this was a Cimmerian berserker, guaranteed lone spawn, but it's now a tier 3, seemingly all the time, on the line between B and C11 on the map. This is a tough area. This whole NPC camp, these fighters will absolutely destroy you, especially if you're new to the game. This fighter can be male or female. If you kill them enough times, you'll get a full set of this armor. It will be damaged. I suggest you put down a bedroll up at Mounds of the Dead and use some daggers. These perfected steel weapons that I'm carrying can be looted from Shellback Hollow over here on the map. If you go to the back of this cave, you just have to run past these shellbacks. They will attack you on sight. When you run into this cave, you will gain corruption, which reduces your maximum health and stamina. It'll give you a bit of purple on your health bar and your stamina bar. Quickest way to clear the corruption you gain from this cave is to just head to Sepamaru. Inside Conan's bar, you'll find dancers who will clear your corruption. This is where you learn sorcery. You can click on this book to get a Tome of Karak. You'll learn a Thaumaturgy bench. You can transmog your gear. It's great. You can climb up here and then access the chests in this cave. This cave is always a must visit for me on day 1. You can loot some coins. You can use these coins to buy a camel, but you can see you can get steel and perfected weapons in these boxes. We haven't been super lucky here, but you can get these perfected items. If you run out and run back again, or rob as I like to call it, in single player, this whole place will reset. You can get some potions in here, a sickle so that you can get some aloe leaves. You can take the weapons that I've got on my hotbar, and you can use these weapons to fight your way into Skittering Cavern, which is here on the map. Defeat all the spiders, and at the back of the cave there's a world boss spider here. This guy is actually one of my favourite bosses to fight at the beginning of the game. You can fight him just with a set of daggers. You can use your 2-handed sword, or an axe, mace, pretty much anything, as long as you manage your stamina. The main thing I want from him is a skeleton key, which you can get from harvesting the body. Once you've got the key, you can click on the chest and you can loot whatever legendary it gives you. It's complete RNG what you get in these boxes. Because it's just RNG and you might have to kill the spider a lot of times, I'm just going to use the weapons that you can loot from the cave instead of using a legendary. But the legendary will definitely make your life a lot easier, and that of your thralls. So that covers the armor we're going to wear, and it also covers where we got the weapons from, which you can get immediately on day 1. So you could do the dungeon alone if you want to. It will be more challenging. And this game is really set up for players to take thralls with them. The same Cimmerian fighter that you can kill to get the armor from, you can also knock out and make them your friend. There we go. You can take her to a Wheel of Pain and convert her to a follower. For this first dungeon, you can get away with just basic heavy armor, but I've kitted her out in Cimmerian steel, the same armor that we're wearing. Once you've converted a Cimmerian, they'll come with a star metal weapon, which they can then use in combat. So she's got a good weapon. I've given her 2 stacks of weak aloe potion and 2 stacks of Thrall. This is going to give her passive healing. I can right click on one of these aloe potions in her inventory so that she'll heal between fights. She'll level up from following us and fighting, and you'll notice there's a deficit in her health as she gains more HP. I've put her on aggressive, and she's on a short chase distance. I've got a camel because they have a lot of storage inventory space, I've equipped him with some plant fibre so that he heals as he levels, and if he takes any damage. You can buy camels for 10 gold coins from Uruk Master Tamer, located here on the map, next to the Den NPC camp. Camels converted in a stables will turn into a mount, and they'll have a slot for a saddle. And camels converted in an animal pen will turn into a fighter variant, which won't have a saddle slot, but they will have more storage space. So now we've got a fighter follower. She's all geared up. She's got a really good weapon. She's got heals. She's got passive healing. Doombringer is going to carry anything that we pick up. He'll also be like a meat shield. The next thing you're going to need for the Dregs dungeon is a bow. It doesn't matter what kind of bow you have, but make sure you have a bow and some arrows. I'm just going to use a very simple hunting bow, and these bone arrows you can collect from Dalfaris. So we're all geared up. Let's get into the dungeon. I'm going to put her on withdraw and passive. In order to access this dungeon, we have to kill somebody just inside this building. And I want to make sure she doesn't kill them before we get in there. So let's run in. And we're going to follow what the ghosts show us. They're going to demonstrate that we need to sacrifice somebody here. And then this should open up. Here we go. Flying camel. And now we can go into the dungeon. So here we go, the Dregs dungeon in Unreal Engine 5. It looks so much nicer than it did in UE4. First thing you want to do is click on this tablet to teach you the Dredger Knowledge. This will teach us the glowing stick, which is a really useful torch for swimming underwater. So in this pool, there is a box, which is quite useful because sometimes it contains a potion of bestial memory. Sometimes it's a potion of natural learning. Natural learning resets your knowledge points. Bestial memory resets your attribute points. There's a bunch of Komodos in here. You can farm these for Ica. When you enter this dungeon, you should get the discovery Find the Dregs. And then once you finish the dungeon, you should get Explore the Dregs ticked off in your Dungeon Delver journey, in your journey steps. You can press J to access this menu. This is a very useful list to track the dungeons that you do, and I usually try to complete the dungeons in this order. Now we've got the first world boss in this dungeon. If you haven't completed this dungeon in a while, there's now a Komodo boss that's been added, and there's also a spider boss. You see he does a tail whip, 3 whips of the tail, just like a crocodile boss. And you can choose what kind of weapon you want to use on him. For world bosses that are like flesh creatures, I quite like to use daggers and avoid the business end, which on this creature, sometimes the front, sometimes the back. The more points you have in agility, the more damage you're going to do with daggers. Hammers are great for sundering, which is really useful on world bosses because they have a lot more armor than the average kind of NPC. So I like to have kind of a range. I don't usually have this many weapons on my hotbar, but I do like to bring a choice with me. This is going to be a lot quicker if you're level 60 and you've got full legendaries. If you do craft this armor later on, it'll have much better stats, especially if you use a specialist armorer like a shieldwright. It'll give you the most armor value possible. There you go. First boss in this dungeon is down. So let's harvest him. We're going to take the skeleton key because there are 3 legendary chests at the end of this dungeon, which means we'll be able to get legendary weapons from it. So you can fight all these Komodos if you want to. Useful for XP, and the Ica is very handy. And we're going to make our way through this door by clicking E. Doombringer's totally ready for this. So I think my primary weapon is probably going to be my axe, but I'll switch to the hammer, and I might use my arrows against the second world boss. You can see there's a couple of arrows here, so if you've come into this dungeon with 0 arrows, I've definitely never forgotten to bring arrows into here, obviously. So we're going to hit these targets throughout the dungeon. The water level will rise. This is a sewer. It smells great in here. You just have to bob about in the water, and then you can rise out. You can't climb in dungeons, generally speaking, but you can hold down spacebar to rise out of it. So we got some skeletons. I do like to use an axe against groups of skeletons because that little whip back is quite handy. And then we can progress through the next gate. Okay, so we want to get through that door, and we need to raise the water level to get through there. So I'm going to hit this target with my bow and arrow. Wait for the water to rise. Doombringer, are you interfering with me rising up? There you go. You can click on this lore book if you want to. And we're going to hit this target in the middle. There's a few to hit here. This is the first one. We're going to go to the right, wait for the water to rise to let us onto this platform. And we're going to hit this target directly in front of us. Okay, then we're going to run to the left. Through the water. You can't climb here, but you can hop up, which is what we need to do. And then we're going to hit this target on the left-hand side. There you go. And we can make our way back to the middle. Okay, then we're going to rise out the water. And this water will also rise too. Okay, now we've got our second world boss. I think I'll use my daggers on this guy. This guy's quite easy to fight. You just have to kind of move forwards and back if you're fighting him solo. And just take your time, a couple of slashes, use your daggers, apply bleed with your right click. Don't go in the acid. Acid hurts. She'll get stacks of poison on her. And that is the biggest Thrall killer. You can use other fighters that you can pick up in cages around the map. You just pick up a bunch of different types of followers, hire them in your tavern and that kind of thing. I've gone for this tier 3 Cimmerian because you can get her right at the beginning of the game. She's solo in the waters around Mount of the Dead, and she'll do a decent amount of damage. If she does fall in combat, then you can use the down but not out function in the game to revive her. And we might actually need to do that in a minute. But it works on a 3 strikes rule. And then if she falls 3 times, she's dead permanently. So I just want to make sure that I am prepared to take on this spider by myself if I needed to. There you go. So you just want to make sure that if she has a stack of poison, which she doesn't, you heal her up. So now that we've healed her up by right-clicking on those aloe potions, I'm just going to make some more so that we can just keep giving those to her, just to keep those stacks full. You can put more stacks in here if you want to. It doesn't really matter if you're not using Better Thralls. If you are using the Better Thralls mod, I quite like to have 1 stack of gruel for passive healing and then just 3 stacks of healing potions. She'll just keep drinking those mid-fight. So then we want to harvest this spider to get his skeleton key, but he does drop Graceful Knight. This is a really good drop early game if you want to use an agility build. And you like using katanas. I don't really enjoy using this particularly, but I know lots of people do love it. So this is a really good thing to get early game. We've got a Grandmaster repair kit, which you can use on anything that is repairable. So no legendaries, no unique items. We got a Fragment of Power. We got Lasting Feast, which is fantastic. Has a long decay time, and it gives you 45 carry capacity, which is quite useful in a dungeon. You can pick up these carcasses and heads and things, put them in a fluid press, and they'll give you blood, hide, bones, and things like that. I just want his key. Skeleton key, Ica, Demon Blood. Beautiful. Doombringer. He's shy. Let's continue the dungeon. Okay, we're going to take a right. We got more skeletons to fight here. It is really nice to have a follower to tank damage for you. Makes a big difference to survivability. You can just get behind the enemy and attack. We could just run past all of these skeletons if we wanted to. Be careful doing that though. Sometimes you can keep running in dungeons and you just end up with a horde behind you, which you just cannot defeat. All right, let's go. So we're going to take a left here into this lovely sewer water. So nice. Okay, then we're going to go up here. And we're going to hit that target at the end. So let's hit the target. We just wait for the water to rise up. Just improving your immune system, it's fine. Okay, and now we've got the boss fight. A couple of skeletons to fight. We'll deal with them first. He's got hyper armor, so if he starts his attack, he won't be interrupted. So I'm going to use a combination of my bow against this gorgeous boss here. Hello there. And probably my hammer as well. So you just want to pepper the boss with your arrows. And then once they appear, you can just whittle down their health. Your fighter will continue to attack them. He does spit acid at you. Doombringer is working on his calluses at the moment. If you don't have really good armor on, you might want to bring a shield for this fight. Doombringer's stuck in the acid. Doombringer! He's like, let me out of here. I'm stuck with this horrible beast. Come on, buddy. Yay! Doombringer's free. Poor Doom. What are you going to do, mate? Your feet are going to be like baby soft. Okay, let's do a bit more big damage. You can see she's whittled him down quite a lot now. Few hits and he'll be down. There we go. Excellent. So the acid in this pool will come back fairly shortly, so you got to be reasonably quick in here. So first thing you want to do is click on this book to learn recipes. It'll teach you abysmal items. Harvest the body. You want the staff of the Triumvirate. And then we've got 3 chests here legendary chests to loot for weapons. I'm going to grab those and we're going to get the hell out of this acid pond. There we go. So we've got the Reaver's Axe. We got the Watchblade and another Reaver's Axe. Okay, let's get out of this pond before it comes back up again. Your followers won't take damage in acid and AoE, things like poison, stuff like that. If it directly comes from a boss, then it will hurt them. And you can find legendary chests at the end of all the dungeons, pretty much. If you manage to come to the dregs with a decent amount of stamina, you can climb this chain. It's probably not something that we can do currently. I probably don't have enough stamina at the moment. But I'll show you what you can get at the top. So just run up these stairs if you manage to make it. And this box at the back has some loot in it, which I don't really ever bother with. But it's kind of a fun challenge to get up here. There you go. You can drop down into the acid, but you are going to take damage from it. To get out of the dungeon, just click on this grate. And now I'm going to show you where to take the Staff of the Triumvirate. So bring the Staff of the Triumvirate to the Tower of Bats, which is located here on the map. And you want to fight this big ugly guy. Okay, now he's dead. Harvest his corpse. And you want the albino bat demon blood. You just get one piece regardless of what tool you use. You want to come up to the altar of the bat, place the staff in the altar, and you'll see this magical mystical stuff appearing. And then you want to place the albino demon blood here. And this will awaken the Staff of the Triumvirate. You can't build up here unless you turn on build everywhere, but if you place it down, the staff will talk to you. I'll let you listen to what he has to say. So the recipes you get from the Dregs dungeon: the Abyssal Blade, which looks pretty cool. The Epic version does 42 damage, 8% armor pen and cripples, and is a strength weapon. The Abyssal Spear, which also looks pretty cool. 42 damage, 8% armor pen, and it has reach. Then earlier in the game, before you get to epic level crafting, the Abyssal Blade does an Abyssal 16 damage and 8% armor pen and cripples. Then the Abyssal Sword, 21 damage, 8% armor pen and cripples. Then the Abyssal Daggers, 13 damage, 16% armor pen, and obviously daggers bleed. Then you've got the Shield recipe. This is the epic variant for crafting later in the game. 37 health damage, 12% armor pen, and it is a shield. And then the Abysmal Shield that you can craft earlier in the game without reaching epic tier crafting. This does 14 damage, 12% armor pen. The main thing I would really care about with shields would be durability. You can see the epic one has twice as much durability as the basic one. You also learn the reptilian armor, the lower level gear that you can craft from the beginning of the game in a regular armorer's bench. The helm gives you 5 stamina, chest piece gives you 5 stamina, gloves give you 20 health, leggings give you 20 health, and the boots give you 5 stamina. It's the same for the epic gear in terms of stats, but obviously the armor value is higher. So instead of 48 armor, you get 80 with the epic tier. The chest piece, 84, is then 140. The gauntlets, 24, and then 40 at epic level. The tasset, 60, and then 100 armor at epic. And then 24 for the reptilian boots, which goes up to 40 armor for the epic level. The epic level gives you a lot of cold protection. So you can see that I'm wearing a full set of epic reptilian armor. It doesn't have any buffs from any armors, but you can see it does have a lot of cold protection. So you can see we go down to cold, and very cold, and extremely cold. So in spite of appearing to give us a huge amount of cold protection, it still isn't enough to protect us in the coldest places on the map. Thanks for watching this first dungeon guide of the series, and thank you again to Funcom for sponsoring it. I will be making more dungeon guides in the future, mod guides and all sorts. You can watch me streaming this game on Twitch and YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you soon.